Good afternoon. It is really a great honor for me today to share my story with you. I'm really honored. As they have already said, I'm William Kamkwamba. I'm from Malawi. If you are not familiar with where Malawi is in Southeast Africa, bordered by Mozambique, Zambia, and Tanzania. Geographically, that's where Malawi is. A little big background of my invention, what I did when I was young. I grew up in the family of 7 children. They are all sisters, excepting me. So you can imagine growing up with girls, life wasn't too easy for me. Especially at school, sometimes my fellow colleague, they'll say, if I have food or a banana, they say like, give us your banana. When I try to resist, say, I need to eat it, they say like, we are going to beat you up. You don't have elder brother to protect you. So most of the time, I was just giving them my banana. Anyway, I survived from them. So Malawi is more of like agricultural country. Many people depend on farming. We grow our own food, and we also grow some crops for selling to get cash. As being farmers, even my parents are also farmers. But most of the farmers are not farmers by choice, but they are farmers because of the circumstances that they are in. Most of them, they are farmers because they didn't go to school, so that's the only job that they're going to do is to farm, to grow their own food when it is rain season. Being a farmer, it's really a difficult job, and it needs so much of things in order to be successful a farmer. There are a lot of things that makes farming a little tough and can make farming go wrong. Some of the things are the price of seeds, the price of fertilizer, or the weather itself. As many people in my community, they depend on the land to grow their food. So weather is very crucial to their farming. In 2001, we experienced one of these 3 problems. We didn't have enough rain, we had drought. As the result, many people harvested only a quarter amount of food what they were hoping to harvest at that particular year. So you can imagine that people are hoping to grow food that they're gonna last them for the entire year until the next harvesting season. They only harvested a quarter amount of wheat. And as the result, there was a famine in the country. Many people were starving to death. Including my family, was badly affected by the situation. So, that time, many people grows up maize, which we grind to make our main food. We call it nsima. You can eat together with vegetables or fish if you have money to buy fish. So because of the situation, many people didn't have enough of it that can last them for the entire year, and people started starving. And the situation was really bad in the rural areas. So the only maize that people were getting, they were getting maize at the market, which was imported from our neighboring country, Tanzania. But it was so expensive for people to buy it because the vendors took advantage of the situation. They were doubling the price of the maize at the market. So at that particular time, it was also the same time that I was supposed to start my high school. In Malawi, high school you have to pay for it, while primary school it's for free. Because of the situation, my parents couldn't afford to pay for my education. So I was forced to drop out of school. When I had to drop out of school, I looked at my father and looking all the dry fields. It was the future I couldn't accept. I didn't want to become like him. I didn't want to become a farmer. It is not that I didn't want to become a farmer because I hate farming. No, I love farming. But I didn't want to become a farmer because that's the only thing that I can do with my life. I wanted to live the life that I can be able to determine what I want to do at a particular time, and I can be able to do anything else that I need to do, not being limited because of the education that I got. So for me, there was only one thing that I needed to do in order to continue up with my studies and my dream of becoming something different from the rest of the people in my community who just get into the same cycle of becoming a farmer, not by choice. So for me, I decided to start going to the library to read books. I was hoping that by the time when the famine will be over, my parents will find money and they will send me back to school. I shouldn't be very behind from the rest of the students who were going to school at that time. So at the library, I read different books. I was reading physics books, even though at that particular time, I couldn't read English that well. I was most of the time using diagrams and pictures to learn the words around them. One thing that inspired me to start reading most of science books and trying to understand how different things work was that when I was much younger, I was so curious to see how radios work. I thought that maybe inside the radio, there are small, tiny people who speaks. One day, my parents went away. I finally sneak in. I took their radio. I opened it inside. I was so surprised to see very tiny things that looks like beans. I was like, are these people? How can I tell if these are people? Say, that's not a big deal. I should just twist one of it. If there are people, they will be screaming like, leave us alone. When I tried to twist a little hard, nothing happened. So from there, I started removing one component after another to try to see what is happening. So at the same library, I also found this book which had a picture of the windmill. When I opened inside, they say windmills could pump water and generate electricity. The word pump water attracted my attention because at that time, we were still going through this famine. I was thinking that if I can be able to build a windmill to pump water, I can be able to start irrigation, growing food 2 to 3 times a year instead of only 1 time a year. Then I can solve the problem that we are facing in my family or in my community. But there was a challenge to do so because at that time, I didn't have money to buy materials to build a windmill to pump water. So I ended up going to the junkyard, which was just next to my former high school. When I went there, a lot of people were laughing at me, including my mom. She thought that you are no longer going to get married. No one is going to want to marry a crazy man. So some people are thinking that maybe I'm smoking weed. That's what is making me to be collecting all the junk. People are saying that normal person cannot be collecting all the garbage and putting them together, saying that he's building a machine that we have never seen and we don't know about it. So for me, I understand them. But regardless of what they were saying, I didn't stop from doing what I wanted to do. Because I knew that if this windmill exists somewhere else, somebody built it, and if it's a human being who built it, there's nothing that can stop me from doing the same thing. I can also do the same thing that other people have already been done. This is not something that is new. It's innovation that has already been done somewhere else. So I collected all the pieces that I needed for my windmill, which including getting the tractor fan, which I used as the load of my windmill, finding like shock absorber, using the PVC pipes, putting everything together, I was able to build the windmill. So a lot of people, when I did this, build the windmill, a lot of people were coming up to see it, what I have done. And some people were asking me, what is this machine all about? I'll tell them that this is the windmill can generate power. Some people in my community had cell phones, and they were bringing in their cell phone. They say, can it charge your cell phone? I say, yeah, it can charge your cell phone. They say, let's try. When I try, and it shows that the cell phone is charging, I say, like, your cell phone is charging, now you believe me. Can you take your cell phone? They say, no. I won't believe you. I'll believe you if my phone will be fully charged. So I was just leaving them to charge their cell phone using my windmill. So there was also like some other things that I had to do after I was able to build this windmill so that I can be able to use the power quite well. One of the things was to build light switch, because I didn't have money to buy a proper switch. I had to build it by myself and also build a circuit breaker so that in case of emergency where the wires cross together, it can be able to shut down the system so that my house doesn't burn from the electricity getting crossed together. So after I was able to achieve this, I didn't stop going to the library. And one day, the librarian asked me, why do you always check out the same book all the time? I explained to her that the book has helped me to build the windmill, which generates power in my community. And she was interested to come and see by herself. When she came, she reported to the people who donate the book, and they also came to see by themselves at my house. When they saw it, they went back, and they came again with some journalists who wrote an article about my story. And that article was picked up by one of the guys who was organizing the TED conference, and then I was invited to attend the TED conference. At that time, I have never been away from my country. And then when I heard the story that I'll be going there by plane, like enough, people in my village advised me. They say, son, we heard that you are going up to this journey. Make sure that the night before your flight, don't eat. I say, well, why shouldn't I eat? They say, if you eat, you are going to vomit in the plane. I didn't eat that night. But when I was in the plane, I was so surprised that they were giving us food. I almost refused, like, no. My people in my village already told me that if I'll eat, I'll vomit. If you want to embarrass me, don't embarrass me. So anyway, people were just saying without little like knowing. So at the conference, I spoke very briefly, and people came up to me, how can we help you to achieve your goals? So my goal at the beginning was to build a windmill to pump water, not to build a windmill to generate electricity. So I told them I want to continue with the building more windmills that I can also be able to pump water for irrigation. So they were able to help me to get some materials that I needed, and I was able to go back and build this windmill, which pumps water for my mom's vegetable garden, and we also use the water for other sanitation at the house. And I was also able to go back to school. I went to school in South Africa for 2 years for high school. After 2 years, I graduated, and now I'm attending Dartmouth College. So there were a lot of things that we kind of like did. I did after the conference. One of the things was to start up organization which is trying to build a primary school that I went to in Malawi. The school was built almost 50 years ago with the capacity of 400 students. The time when I was going there were 2,000 students. Right now, there are 1,400 students, and the classes are in terrible condition. So we are trying to rebuild it so that the student, they're going to be able to study in a good environment. So the summer of 2010, we were able to build one school, and I went back there to build more windmills to generate power for the school. But I wasn't doing that only by myself. I tried to recruit some other students from the school so that I can also share with them my skills. They can learn how to build their windmills so that they can be able to build for themselves or for their families, so that many people in my country can also be able to have a chance to access to electricity as well. So right now, at that time, we were able to build this windmill which generated electricity, including we put up a hybrid system together with solar panels, and then students, they're going to be able now to power the school. They're going to be able to start at night, and they can also be able to power one laptop per child, so that they can just have like some basic ideas of how computers work and how other things work. So right now, for me, I'm also right now attending this Dartmouth College, which I'm planning to do to study environmental studies and combine also with some engineering as well. When I look back into my journey, starting from the point when I started until where I am right now, I've gone through like so many like challenges. But one thing that kind of like encouraged me, that kept me going, even in the time when most people were doubting of what I was doing, it was that I was able to trust myself, and I believe in myself that I can still do it, regardless of what other people were saying. One thing that inspired me a lot to do what I did, I can say it's also my grandmother. In Malawi, there's this division of job. They say there's job for female and job for male. One of the jobs that is considered to be male's job is to make bricks to build your house. They consider that that's a real tough job that most women cannot do. But my grandmother, she was able to do it by her own self. So a lot of people were asking her, why are you making bricks by yourself instead of your husband? The answer that she was responding to them, it was quite inspiring to me to say, when your jacket caught fire, you don't wait for somebody to put it off, because you are the one who can start feeling the fire, and you are the one who can start putting off the fire. So she was referring that if you are in trouble, you are the one who can know your troubles, and you are the one who can start trying to find the solution to get out of that trouble. And other people might see you that you are in trouble, and they can come along to help you to pull off from the trouble that you are in. So for me, with that, I was like thinking that if I'm in trouble, I still need to do something in order to get myself out of that trouble. So when I saw myself in that situation, I thought that I shouldn't wait for some other people to help me, but I should start, and other people might come along to help me doing what I want to do. That's why I was able to achieve what I achieved. So lastly, I would just like to share with you that sometime in life, we face so many challenges that can simply stop us from achieving what we want to achieve. Regardless of where you are and who you are, at some point you are going to face some challenges. Although the challenges might be different from what somebody else might face from some other part of the world, but it will still some challenges that can simply stop you from achieving what you want to achieve. I will challenge you that those challenges are not there to stop you to achieve what you want to achieve, but are there to strengthen you from what you want to achieve, and you can still do it. All the people that we have had all these people like have been speaking like today, they have really like successful story business. At some point, if you ask them, they faced some challenges, but they didn't allow those challenges to stop them from achieving what they achieved until they were able to do what they are able to do. So everything in this world, I'll just say that it's possible, and you can still do it, everything that you want. Thank you for allowing me to share my story with you today.